The two heater core hoses, red arrows but not shown, are located between the firewall and the bulkhead, under the windshield wiper motor and cowl or rain diverter. So you need to remove all of these components to access the hoses. It's not difficult, it's just time consuming. Before you remove the windshield wiper arms, take note of the dot hidden in the silkscreen area of the lower windshield, adjacent to the lower yellow line. The wipers must be aligned within an inch of this dot, yellow lines, when in the off position. Remove the plastic cover over the driver's side arm, red arrow, it just snaps off. Use a trim removal tool and pry the caps off the two arms for the passenger side, red arrows. Use a 16mm socket. While holding the arm in place, loosen the nut, red arrow. Be careful working around the windshield and the hood, as you do not want to damage them. Do the same to the two nuts on the passenger side arm. Sometimes the arms can be wiggled and pulled off the mechanism. On our project car, we had to use a puller. If you need to use a puller, a simple tie rod separator will do. Leave the nut on the last couple of threads, red arrows, to keep the puller in place and then pop the arm off. With the arms free, you can remove the wiper and arms on both sides. Again, use caution so as not to damage the windshield or the hood. There are 4 plastic push-pull clips on the cowl or rain diverter as indicated by the red arrows. Use a trim removal tool and carefully pry out the pin from the base, then pull the whole clip out. You can also use a small Phillips head screwdriver to unscrew the clips, but they are plastic and tend to strip out the heads pretty quick. The cowl or rain diverter clips into a metal channel, red arrow, on the bottom of the windshield. Start at one side and carefully lift the plastic cowl up and out from the windshield, yellow arrow. Flip the cowl over and pull the nearest washer nozzle out. Separate the fluid hose from the washer fluid tank by pulling it back and off, red arrow. There is a brace, yellow arrow, from the top of the left wheel well that mounts on 2 studs under the windshield, green arrow. Use an E12 and remove the single bolt, red arrow. This will allow you to lift the brace up. From there, it is simply pulled straight off of the studs under the windshield. Disconnect the electrical connection from the wiper motor by squeezing in the tab and pulling it off, red arrow. Use a 13mm socket and remove the 2 nuts on the base of each arm, red arrow. Use a 13mm socket and remove the long bolt that sits in the rubber isolator by the motor, red arrow. You can now lift the unit out. Again, use care so as not to damage the windshield or hood. With the wiper motor removed, you can see and access the upper supply hose, red arrow. Unfortunately, the return hose clamp is hidden, yellow arrow. You need to remove the right side molding to get at it. Use a set of long needle nose pliers and turn the wiper arm mount counterclockwise to remove it, red arrow. Next, use a 10mm socket, remove the 4 nuts holding the plastic molding in place, as indicated by the red arrow. Unclip the molding from the rain diverter on the right side by the A-pillar and lift it out of the engine bay. This will now give you access to the return hose clamp. You're going to be working in a tight space, and if the hoses have not been replaced before, they will have the factory clamps on them. While you can compress these clamps with channel locks or vice grips, if you have ever thought about investing in a good set of hose clamp removal tools, now would be a good time. Both the upper supply hose and the lower return hose can be removed from the heater core by compressing them and sliding the hose off, red arrows. When you remove the hoses, even if you have drained the system, be prepared for some additional coolant to escape from the core, yellow arrows, and the hoses. Be prepared to catch it and dispose of it correctly. The hose out of the head is a factory clamp as well, red arrow. You just compress it and slide it off. The return hose to metal pipe clamp, red arrow, is a tight fit. Compress the clamp, slide the hose off and replace it. Installation is the reverse of removal. Do not forget to refill or top up and bleed your system. Thanks for watching. Click here to view the original article along with hundreds of other DIY content for your car.